Hello, hello there. It is September 29, 2022, 10:54 in the evening here in the Philippines. It's September 29, the death anniversary of the great poet and painter Maningning Miclat. So I thought of going live just before bed and try to remember Maningning Miclat. By the way, I'm Jason, your host for Hagbayon Channel. This small YouTube channel is devoted to current events, literature, rock music, martial arts, AIDS culture, the outdoors, and survivalism. Um, let's talk about Maningning Miklat because today is her death anniversary. I am actually a writer. That is why this channel is likewise devoted to literary content. I'm also a literature professor, and my being a musician was mainly attributed to my being a word music practitioner for a long time. And I've been to a lot of workshops, literary workshops, as fellow participant, as panelist, and I've also been a lecturer in many literary symposiums. I've joined a few contests and actually placed in some of them. Uh, Published my own book already. Uh, that's the context of this live stream. Just to say that somehow Maningning was instrumental to my literary journey. So there, we already know who Maningning is. There's lots of content here on YouTube, and just check Maningning Miklat Art Foundation. Just Google it. But in the main, no, in the main, Maningning was poet, a writer, poet, and visual artist. She wrote in Mandarin, English, Filipino. Unfortunately, she died very young at the age of 8 in the year 2000 uh, on September 29. Um, I do remember reading the news report. Uh, I think it was the day after. I was reading the news report and the Daily Tribune. Yeah, it was just a small, news article. I was then a college student. I was studying in Manila, but at that time I was in the province, and I was also writing for the Daily Tribune. I was writing essays, and I was also contributing feature articles for the Daily Tribune. That's why I was keeping track of the newspaper. Uh, uh, One night, it was I think September 30, as I said. Or the next day, I was reading the newspaper, and the news article really caught my attention. The headline went, "Professor leaps to her death." That was the headline, and what was particular about it was that it happened at the Ayarfa or Institute of Arts, Architecture and Fine Arts building of the Far Eastern University, where I took my pre-med, medical technology, or at least I took subjects for my pre-med at the FEU. Uh, and it's not a secret that the FEU is a very important institution for me as a writer, because I I really started my professional writing career when I was in that university. So when I saw the news article, I thought to myself, oh, something happened at FEU. Uh, I was really, glued to the article. I was reading it intently and all that. At that time, uh, I didn't know Maningning Miclat at that time. Uh, but I had a teacher who was also a Miklat. It was a guy, a man. He was a great teacher, a Filipino, in Filipino, and but he was not, I think, related to Maningning or to her father, Doc Mick or Dr. Mario Miklat. So, but I was really, familiar with the Miklats in the sense that I had a Miklat for a professor before. So I thought to myself, maybe this lady is related to my former professor. So I read on and on, and I I was into poetry already at the time. And what I did was I researched about Maningning Miklat. Later on, articles came out about her, especially the article written by Ruel S. de Vera. It's entitled "A Bright Shining Life." Yeah, it was published in Sunday Inquirer magazine. So that's where I learned more about who Maningning was, about her father, Doc. May he also rest in peace. About Banawi Miklat, her sister, about their flight to China during martial law and all that, about her name, why her name was Maningning. It was supposedly Maningning na Pulang Tala. So her name was supposedly Maningning na Pulang Tala, but it was shortened to Maningning. It there. And I also read in that article that Maningning was a member of Linangan sa Imahen, at Linangan sa Imahen Retorika at Anyo, or LIRA, one of the leading organizations for writers in Filipino, or people who write poetry in Filipino slash Tagalog. It caught my attention. The word Lira, or the group Lira. Although, of course, I was really fascinated with her, not only because of her splendid career, sterling career, but also I was also uh, fascinated with her beauty. I was a young guy. I was, I think, 19 or 20 years old, and what caught my attention was her, physical beauty, because Maningning was stunningly beautiful. Uh, she was a type of a person that when you get to know her and she's already dead, it's such a, it's such a sad thing. It's such a waste. It's such a, depressing thing to learn. So what I did was to actually buy a copy of her book when I went to, I think, yeah, it was already in Manila when I got a copy of uh, Voice from the Underworld. Um, it was published by Anvil, or it is published by Anvil. And I do remember reading a lot, reading or rereading that poetry collection when I was in the province. So I'm not really clear about, well, I read about the news. I was in the province, and I think I went to Manila, and then I went back to the province. Maybe it was for vacation, and was reading her book. I was devouring it. Uh, the book was in three languages: Mandarin, English, and Filipino. And there's so many really great poems there. Uh, Her style in Filipino was modernist. Um, she had knowledge of uh, uh, the Filipino lyrical tradition and the Tugmat-Sukat discipline, and she had knowledge of form, being that her teacher was or her teacher was national artist Virgilio Almario, or Rio Alma, along with and other poets, Lira poets, including of course her father was also affiliated with Lira. So there, I was reading her English poetry because I was writing in English also at that time, and uh, I found her poetry in English riveting and powerful. I remember this line: "To catch a second and turn it to forever." It's a quote that I really remember. Uh, there was also a poem, uh, "Weightless no matter what." Between yeah, this is a line. No matter what, between the sky and me, the wind. Yeah, there. I actually made that as an epigraph for one of my poems entitled Vignette. Vignette. Yeah, Vignette. Um, so there. Anyway, because of her, I really wanted to join Linangan sa Imahen Retorica at Anyo. And the very next year, year 2001, I joined Lira, September. It was, I think it started in September or August of 2001. That was the year after she died. Um, and that's when I really got to know Maningning via her close friends at Lira. Okay, particularly may she rest in peace also, Sosilin Floresca, Ate Suzette of Lira. Sosilin Floresca, I think if I remember it right, was the one who contacted me that I qualified as fellow for Lira workshop that year. Although it was uh, Ma'am Becky, no? Rebecca Año who sent me the acceptance letter. And I was actually thrilled for receiving a letter uh, from none other than the venerable Rebecca Año. So I was really happy to receive an email from her in 2001. Hi there, Manay Hinupa. So, so there, I joined Lira. I attended the first session, and needless to say, I was somehow like infatuated with Maningning at that time. So much that I was actually looking for her presence uh, at Lira. So via her friends, so I was asking a lot about her during long phone calls with Socelin Floresca. I was, you know, asking a lot about her. How was Maningning as a friend and all that. Of course, I got a lot of valid and important answers, things that made me know Maningning better through her friends, particularly Susette or Ate Susette. In that Maningning loved watching art films at CCP, and that they would go together. And Maningning was extremely brilliant, very very smart and intelligent. And Maningning was so reserved, dalagang Filipina. That's true, dalagang Filipina. So much that there was even a scout who wanted her to participate for Binibining Pilipinas. So that's how pretty Maningning was, and how, of course, it was a given that she was brilliant. She went to UP, and I think, yeah, she graduated with honors, uh, fine arts, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and Maningning would attend art contests and would win grand prizes, but she would be happy for a while and would be mum about it the next day. That's how she was. According to Susette, may she rest in peace. We're talking about uh, Ate Susette. She would say that the thing with Maningning kasi is ang bilis niyang mawalan ng saya. So that's what I remember. For example, sabi niya, nanalo siya sa isang contest, poetry contest or art contest. Ang saya-saya niya ngayong araw, and then the next day, hindi na. So that's what I remember uh, Ate Susette telling me about Maningning. So there. Um, I was so into her, reading a lot of her works at that time, that uh, when the wife of uh, I was actually a little segue. I was staying in Quezon City, Fairview, because I was studying for my pre-med there, and I was staying at the house. It so happened that I was staying at the house of Mike Bigornia. Mike Bigornia was a great, you know, poet in Tagalog, and he was also a member of Lira. Talking of, or a founding member, or one of the mentors at Lira, and talking of coincidences, I was staying in the house of uh, Mike Bigornia, and at one point, uh, his wife called that house, and I thought, no, not really. His wife visited the house, and I mentioned Maningning, and she, her wife actually thought that I was talking to Maningning, and that Maningning was talking to me as a ghost. So she was terrified and she freaked out. Sabi niya, patay na yun ah. Sabi ko, no, no, not really. What I meant was I was talking about Maningning. I was talking with Ma'am Becky Año and Jocelyn Forlesca about so I had to mention this because Maningning is now part of legend in Metro Manila, as per universities that are haunted, so to speak. So there. So I went to the workshop and all that. I learned more about Maningning, and um, learned that uh, what else? Yeah, aside that she had close friends with Lira, but the problem then was her friends actually had some regret about how they how they, uh, you know, related with her. For example, Ate Suset would say, ang problema kasi noon ay hindi namin masyadong napansin kasi si Maningning ay palaging bubbly at laging friendly, tumatawag at laging nagko-connect. Ang naging problema, hindi kami naging masyadong ah, available para sa kanya nung time na yun. At lahat kami nagulat ng all of a sudden nalaman namin na nagpatiwakal siya, si Maningning. So, to make the long story short, Maningning was acting out, somehow showing signs uh, of her plan to kill herself. Uh, but somehow they missed the point for some reason, or maybe they didn't notice and all because it was wrapped in metaphor or something. And they were in fact shocked when she all of a sudden killed herself. In 2000, upon learning of her death, I went to FEU and researched on her, death site. It was a terrible thing because she jumped from the seventh. I don't remember anymore. I think seventh floor. Yeah, seventh floor of the Ayarfa building at FEU, and it was the design of that building was like it's like I think it's nine floors or 10 floors, and uh, there's a quadrangle. It's and just the center of the building is like hollow. It's hollow, and the top of the building has a roof, but the center of the building is hollow in the sense that there's a quadrangle surrounding it, and the ground floor has roof, and the galvanized iron roof has, you know, what you call that? I don't know, some protrusions on it, and some kind of screw, heavy duty screw protruding upwards. So nakatuhog siya. Ito yung roof sa ground floor, nakatusok siya. And when I inspected the exact location where Maningning fell, there was, a kind of a depression there, and the screw that hit her body, some of the screw actually bent. So you can just imagine the impact and the pain it must have caused her, or maybe she didn't feel it anymore, etc., etc. Uh, Although one member of the FEU infirmary told me that Maningning was sort of smiling and sort of not not showing any emotion or pain, and she was like trying uh, to just, you know keep it to herself, so to speak. She was just moaning, sort of moaning, and not really crying or what. It's just moaning, and that's what I got. And I actually wrote an article for her and submitted it to the Daily Tribune. The article was entitled "Words for a Poet," and of course, it got published at the Daily Tribune. It was a heavy article for me, very loaded with all the you know poetic language and all that. My young self, young poet self, pouring all my poetic abilities into that article because I was moved by her, by her suicide. For me, it was very, very artistic. The way that she went to the restroom first, and with flowers, and she looked at the mirror and left the flowers there, and then went to the ledge and pabaliktad, patalikod, you know. She let go of herself and fell. Actually, she made a sign of the cross first before she actually fell down. And she was actually holding a photograph by her yeah, on her breast. She was holding it like this. And that's what I got. So I wrote, and you know what? It was much later. I think 18 years or 16, 17 years. Yeah, or 16 years. Yeah, really, 16 years. It was 16 years after when I finally learned who that guy really was. I really didn't know the name, but people were saying that the picture was that of a guy, a boyfriend or something, and that the boyfriend got married and all that, and Maningning got devastated because of it, something like that. Typical story, heartbreaking story. So I was thinking maybe it was a boyfriend, a guy that she liked, and I even heard that the boyfriend is abroad or something. Uh, but you know what? After 16 years, during a camping trip to one of the Calaguas group of islands here in Bicol, Daet Camarines Sur. My friend who owns a resort, shout out to Giovanni Buen. Hi there, Giovanni Buen of Kagidama Kagidama Agri Beach Resort at Calaguas group of islands. Uh, you see, Giovanni, my compadre, Giovanni, is actually a visual artist as well, and he would be asked to he would usually be asked to judge uh, fine arts thesis in contests at FEU, and at that point, the fine arts students, along with their professors, went to Calaguas, and Giovanni asked me to join him. So there, we went camping and all that. We went, frolicking on the beach and all that. And there was a time when I was with the FEU professors, and I asked about Maningning because the professors were from Ayarfa. They were fine arts professor, just like me. So I asked, how was Maningning? He said Maningning was very, very nice, but, always smiling. And I was very lucky because I got to talk to a professor who was always with Maningning. I mean, they were always, you know, they would took the same jeep, something like that. They would take the same jeep. They would go to art exhibit, something like that. And she was there when Maningning actually committed suicide, and she went to the very spot where she fell. And it was only then when I learned who that guy was. I asked her about the picture, the photograph, and she told me, you know what, that was a photo of a Hollywood actor, a Hollywood actor. So I was really surprised and dumbfounded by that uh, revelation, because I always thought the photo was that of a Filipino expat abroad and a love interest of Maningning. Uh, I really didn't know who he was, and I was always wondering who he was. I was always investigating who he was, asking about him from her friends at Lira, and nobody could really tell me. It was something that I had to omit from my article. I couldn't mention it because I didn't know anything about it. But there's this co-teacher of hers telling me, well, you know what? It was just a photograph of a Hollywood actor. Hollywood actor. So my conclusion was that maybe Maningning was really depressed. Yeah, too much. I don't know. Too much of. With, maybe she was overwhelmed with her artistic vision, her art. Well, at least I was able to write an article for her, published in the year 2000 at the Daily Tribune, and at least I was able to write a poem for her, published in the Daily Mirror. No, Mirror Weekly. Yeah, edited by Ma'am Mara Lanot. So shout out to Ma'am Mara Lanot. And the poem is entitled Vignette. Yeah, it's English, and was workshopped at the Ateneo National Writers Group. Some people didn't like it, but some people really liked it, especially Ma'am Benny Santos. So shout out to Ma'am Benilda Santos of Ateneo University. Um, Now, later on in 2003, I joined the Maningning Miclat Award for Poetry, Maningning Miclat Poetry Contest. And I was shortlisted for the grand prize. And that was good enough, you know, to think that there were lots of, better poets who participated in that contest. In 2003, it propelled me to write more and submit to other contests. And true enough, the year after, I won one of the top prizes uh, at the Talaang Ginto of Commission sa Wikang Filipino. Somehow it propelled me to do more. So that's Maningning Miclat. And I attended events for her. I attended exhibits, posthumous exhibits in her honor, particularly the one they called Ginugunita Kita. Yeah, I don't know if my memory serves me right, but I do remember attending it, and I do remember Sir Vim Ladera doing performance poetry and handing out people, you know, candles shaped as a lady, and he would say, "Ginugunita kita, ginugunita kita." He would hand this black colored candle. The candle was shaped like a lady, you know, wearing a gown. So poetic. I remember that, and I tried to keep that wax, that candle, but it's no longer around. I should have, you know, kept it along with my other marine memorabilia. So that's it for Maningning Miclat. Let's offer a prayer for Maningning Miclat, um, because today is her death anniversary. Kudos, Maningning, and may you rest in peace, and may you be in art heaven. So there, Jason here for the Hagbayon Channel and TMS Talks. Remember, the pen is mightier with the sword and with literature, and arts. Thanks for watching.